Coyotes. Starting there, number 1, Brandon Corno. And outside, number 4, Kenny Amara. And opposite, number 5, Cindy Metcalf. At the barrel, number 6, Haley Gibbons.
Johnson serves it up right into Cortez. Set on the outside of Cortez. Blocked perfectly, and Salazar cannot keep it alive. And that's the thing about Mesa, Matt. They can beat you on the outside. They have such athletic talent, and then they hit you with waves of long, lanky players that have tremendous hops.
No, the speed, the athleticism, and the size. We were talking about that before the game started. The size, it's you may not be able to see it on the camera, but it's there.
Salazar. Johnson, and this little bump over, kept alive. Blag tries to sneak one in. Cortez and Amarillos has the answer. And how about the perfect touch by Grace Johnson? Perfect placement, finding the, as they would say in the NFL, the soft spot in the zone for the first down and the completion for 15 yards.
And that's just great volleyball IQ, knowing when to send it to your outside and let him swing away, and then reading the defense and opening up right in the middle.
Zoe Lastine on serve. Lastine, another great-looking young player that Andrew Yamashiro has brought in. A high-energy player, rooting her teammates on nonstop, good at the service line. And we're going to call that a tip, and it's 8-5 Mesa. So Cortez on serve. Cortez, a sophomore, played her high school ball at Chandler High. Amarillos is there. Knocked over in the middle. Outside hit. Johnson with the answer. Amarillos setting up Metcalf. Blocked. And that is out of bounds. 8-6. So you have to like what you're seeing from Chandler-Gilbert early. They're facing a nationally ranked team just like how they faced Mesa. Could have won that one. And now through 14 points in this first set, they're hanging strong.
Yeah, absolutely. They're playing strong. Now it's just play consistent. Don't get frazzled by the strong hits from Mesa and play your game.
The beautiful thing about this Chandler-Gilbert team is they are really relentless on the back end. They've got players that can dig, as we just saw Grace Johnson right there. Becker is there with the soft touch over. And then you've got great work in the back row, and Amarillos has just got a ferocious shot. But this is a Mesa team, as we're seeing, just incredible high-level volleyball on both sides as Becker bumps it over. Battle at the net. And a discussion, and they're going to say that Becker touched the net.
And Joe, this is the type of volleyball that's exciting to watch, right? Two teams going back and forth, keeping the volley going, and just entertain us every single set.
On serve is Brianna Anderson. Anderson is a talented player who we had a chance to see. Matt, she already has 217 digs through 9 matches. Issa Fulau with 123. They're led by Lindsay Levitt with 79 kills, Fulau with 71, Melanie Jones with 59, and Cortez with 59. And we'll talk about the Chandler-Gilbert stat lines in just a second. 9-6 in this first set. Amarillos, Johnson outside. Firing it up with a purpose, and Fulau was there. Little soft touch, and Becker has the answer.
Way to be there.
Setting it back up, Fulau. And that is knocked long. 9-7. Coyotes working their way back in. Checking back in. Lena Kitch and Sydney Metcalf. And Kitch is off to a nice start in the teal and white for Chandler-Gilbert. Worked on that outside. Fulau and Amarillos, fearless. And in the middle, and not having to jump that high because she's quite tall at 6'1" is Gracie MacArthur, a freshman who's got some skill.
And a great read, great advantage by MacArthur. Reading it, coming up top, swinging down, and that's a tough one to defend if you're the Coyotes. When you get the ball up that high, really setting up the other team to spring it down on you.
10-7, Mesa. Amarillos worked on the outside. Metcalf, and right into Gracie MacArthur, who once again stands at 6'1". She puts the hands up. She's hovering over the twine.
And there's that tall athleticism we've been talking about. This Mesa team just stacked to the max with height and build.
Serve is up, and Amaryllis could not handle that on the great serve by Brianna Arbizo, a freshman from Safford, Arizona. So Coach Harrington, just like Coach Yamashiro, finding all the great players from all across the state. Metcalf coming in with some power. Anderson right there. Set up on the outside. Fulau. Work on the back end by Kitch. Amaryllis into the wall. Metcalf will bump over. Kept alive by Mesa. Anderson with the dazzling touch. And you can tell the camaraderie on this Mesa team, right? A lot of energy, a lot of fun. I remember seeing Brianna Anderson last year when we covered volleyball. Just an incredible libero for the team.
Yeah, no doubt. You can tell this is a team that loves to play together, has won together, has lost together, and there's a lot of chemistry.
And Brenna Guano could not handle the serve, as the nice serve for the ace. And Mesa feeling good about their position, as Chandler-Gilbert was once up 3-1, and now it's Mesa doubling up the Coyotes with a 14-7 lead. And you can tell with the outsides, and of course with Fulau and Lindsay Levitt, who hasn't made too much noise yet, but then in the middle, such a dominating presence with Gracie MacArthur at 6'1", showing what she's capable of in the middle of the court.
Yeah, Mesa, like we've talked about, they've got the build, they've got the winning, they've got a lot of components to defend if you're the Coyotes. So the Coyotes stay in the game, play at your best level, and just attack and try to not make mistakes along the way. You're going to have good hits from the other team, but you got to just watch out for those.
And here's the beautiful thing about this Chandler-Gilbert team. They are scrappy.
Yeah.
And they won't be phased by this
No.
7-point deficit. They fought hard against Glendale down in Pima, and I can tell you they'll go all out here to give Mesa everything and then some. Last scene in the back row, Metcalf, Amaryllis, Anderson always has an answer. That's fired up, and a good stroke by Lindsay Levitt. And we kind of talked about Lindsay Levitt coming into this match. She leads Mesa with 79 kills. Fulau with 71. Jones with 59. Cortez with 59 as well. Last scene, Metcalf. Cortez keeping it alive. Mesa finding answers, finding solutions. Crafter right into Gracie MacArthur. And it's 16-7. Thunderbirds on a roll.
And MacArthur's going to make her presence known as she's rocking the front line. She's got the height. She knows what she can do there. Kyle's going to have to be smarter than that. Look to put it over the top, get it out of her range.
Good serve by Mesa.
Good swing.
And right now at the service line, as the Coyotes get a much-needed side out, Kennedy Amaryllis. Amaryllis, a glue player, played her high school ball at Williamsfield in Gilbert. And that just floats in. Levitt with the mishit. She's laughing it off. But she gets the point on the back end. 17-8. Mesa coming out in control. Issa Fulau played her high school ball at Castile. Brenna Guano is the daughter of Coach Aguano, the running backs coach at Arizona State. And that is Sean Aguano if you're scoring at home. Used to be the longtime Chandler High coach. And how about Metcalf providing some height? And the beautiful thing about this match, you're seeing high-end volleyball on both sides. Players that are fearless, that'll dig it out, serve it up, spike it, and play with a purpose and play with a passion. And that's all you can ask for on either side. Gibbons serves it up right into Cortez. Nice little knock in the middle.
Recovery.
Isabella Jackson looking for the perfect touch. Setting it up. Cortez right into Gibbons. Kitch. Salazar kept alive at the net. Salazar gets it over. Anderson, Levitt, right into some bodies. And Levitt wins the point as Blagg gave a solid effort, came up a little short. 18-9.
And Joe, there's a reason Levitt's leading the team in kills. She knows how to bring it down hard. She knows how to find the right placement and make her mark.
On serve, Sophie Palmer, Westwood High. Former Warrior, Metcalf. And Metcalf inside the corner. 18-10, substitutions, Kitch and Metcalf coming out. Audrey Becker and Grace Johnson looks to serve up a winner. Coyotes need to go on a run, down by 8 in this first set. Johnson.
Good spot.
And kept alive by Fulau. Great team effort by Mesa. And once again, we talk about Mesa as Chandler-Gilbert wins the point. They average 23 digs per set, Matt. It's almost insane. I mean, they're an unstoppable force. And when you think about that, it starts with Brianna Anderson, number 3, the libero, who's just fearless. She can dig up anything at any point. Cortez bringing the heat right in the middle. Mesa kind of brought 2 bodies on that attack, and it was Cortez. Even though Awalana Mutu was right there. Early in the season, Etta Henson on serve. Worked into Salazar. Becker with the soft touch. Allows Mesa to reset. Cortez right into Aguano. Salazar fires it up, and Salazar with the winner. 19-12 as last team comes back in. I had a chance to talk to Sage Salazar a little bit. She talks about the unity of this team, a tight group, a bunch of fighters on this team, and you know, sophomores on this team, they felt bad about last season. Finishing 12-12 is not the standard at Chandler-Gilbert. And they know they've got to be better, and there's a desire amongst the girls as Mesa wins the point to get back to the postseason and to get back to the national tournament and to reposition itself as a power inside this Region 1, which is oh so good with Glendale and, of course, Scottsdale and Pima right down the road.
Absolutely. And, Joe, I think the Coyotes know they're a team that can compete at that level. They've got a lot of talent, a lot of ability, and a lot of heart as they play. So this is something very doable for them. And Sage Salazar, just a prime example of that. Powerhouse led the team, not led the team, but had 206 kills last season, ranked 8th in the conference. So she's a dog out there.
Riley Blagg on serve. Coyotes down a 7 spot. Blagg, good, tight serve. And Blagg is there in the back row. Amaryllis blocked, kept alive by Mesa. A little battle ensues. Chandler-Gilbert wins the point. 20-14. Once again, this Chandler-Gilbert team, led by head coach Andrew Yamashiro, that is, united and talking to the young ladies about Coach Yamashiro. He's got their voice, not a yeller. Tries to talk through, more of a teacher, and look, he's hard on them when he has to be, but it's coming from a good place. And he has captured their utmost respect as well. Your referees tonight, Rob Richardson at the chair, Doug Kiefer on the floor. Your lines, Robert Schwartz and Christy Elb Jaluli. 21-15. Kitchen Metcalf back in. Johnson, as well as Becker. A moment to recoup. Coyotes need a run. Cortez is there. And MacArthur could not get it over. Coyotes drawing a little closer. Beautiful thing about this team, resilient, scrappy. Saw that against Northern Iowa. At one point in that first set, down in Pima, Matt, they were down 8-0, and then just turned it on.
Yeah.
And this is a team that won in 5 sets at Yavapai. And I asked Sage and I asked Sydney Metcalf, I'm like, I hate to say this, I said, I think you guys would have lost that match last year. And they're like, you're probably right.
Yeah.
And they feel that this group more cohesive and a little more tougher mentally. And that's the belief they have, that Yamashiro has permeated trying to rebuild the culture here.
Absolutely.
Kitch, Metcalf fires it up right into a couple blockers out front. Anderson. And that is kept alive. Metcalf will knock it over. Right there, Melody Jones, big hitter. And that goes in favor of Chandler-Gilbert. Now Coach Harrington's got to burn a timeout. So we talked about the resiliency of this team, Matt. Here they were down at 1 point, 8 points, and now it's a 3-point first set.
Yeah, no, the Coyotes have really come back in this one, and I like what you point out, Joe. They've got great toughness, got great resiliency, and you're right, maybe that wasn't something we saw as much last year. But that's what it means when you lock into a program. You're really committed, you come in strong, and obviously they got a lot of good pieces this year as well, but I love what I'm seeing. They're locking in, they're keeping it straight, keeping their cool, and that can lead to mistakes on the other end, so they're getting points on the board.
Let's also keep in mind the start of last season. Holly Gibbons was lost for the year.
Yep.
Sydney Metcalf didn't really start to about game 4 or 5. She was nursing an injury, so it's not like the Coyotes started the season in great shape. They didn't. And, of course, the offseason, they had to regroup, brought in a slew of freshmen, and here they are. So from what I saw early at Pima and this match, I love the toughness of this team because it's all about building around that culture of never surrendering and not giving up on any points.
Right.
And that just gets in on that right corner.
And Joe, we've seen last season a bunch. Injuries can be so detrimental to a team's trajectory in the season. We saw that in basketball for the men. We saw that in volleyball for the women. So really, stay healthy this year, lock in, and keep playing like they're playing tonight. I mean, they'll have a great turnout and really be able to compete in this league.
Good crowd on hand. Served up by Isabella Jackson. Amaryllis. And Metcalf with the miss hit at the net. Now 23-18. Mesa 2 points away as Isabella Jackson, who is off to a tremendous start. Jackson at the service line. And we kind of talk about the team and their hitters and how good they are. Of course, Gracie MacArthur making her presence felt, but their setters are off the charts. Isabella Jackson, Matt, with 152 assists coming in, and Etta Henson with 125. So that right there, you got the ability to hit from every angle, and you got two setters that can set you up anywhere on the floor. It makes them so devastating at any given point within a set.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really shows why they're a team that won last year, and we'll see how they do this year. But they've got the height right on the front row. They've got that great back row that can dig and bring it back up. And obviously, you've got the setters as well. It's really a complete package.
We talk about Mesa, 2-3 matches. Sage Salazar, 38 kills. Metcalf, 34. Johnson at center, 54 assists. Aguano, 50 digs. Amaryllis, 26 kills. So Crafter, big time mid. Anderson setting up the outside. Levitt is there. Coyotes trying to keep it alive off the net. And they could not do so. 24-18, set point for Mesa. As Isabella Jackson from Grant Pass, Oregon. And that is always a killer for a coach. Luckily for Mesa, all they need is 1 point. Now, Chandler-Gilbert's going to have to roll off 7 straight points to take this first set.
And I'll tell you, Joe, in every game of volleyball I've watched, the last point always tends to be the hardest one to get.
Set up on the outside. Fulau. Aguano. Metcalf. Blocked to the net. Worked in the middle. Fulau, a little bump over. Salazar. Metcalf tries to soft touch it over. Jackson and Levitt. Good work on the outside by Kitch. Metcalf into a couple blockers, and that drops. So the Coyotes drawing a point closer. Excellent volleyball on both ends, and we're just seeing how talented the back rows are. First, Elena Kitch, Brenna Guano, and Kenny Amaryllis for Chandler-Gilbert. And Brianna Anderson's just in a world of her own with her skill. She can dig out anything. We saw that last year, and we're seeing it in the early stages of this first set. Now 24-21. Things getting interesting. Coyotes pulling with a 3. Amaryllis serves it up. Cortez, Isabella Jackson, and MacArthur with a purpose. 25-21, and Mesa takes the first set. And Matt, Coyotes, one thing you have to like. They didn't take the first set, but by no means did they have quit in their vocabulary.
No, they played strong, they played hard, and obviously little things as they bring it to the second set that they'll obviously improve on and implement. But that's what you like about the Coyotes. They adapt, they move with the game, and in no way did it feel stagnant. These are two teams that are putting their all on the floor, and we expected Mesa to be tough. They've got a lot of great components. The Coyotes can't be sloppy over the top. They got MacArthur and some tall girls who will easily knock it back. So there's one correction I'd say, be very precise over the net. Don't let those easy points slip away. But other than that, two teams going at it very strong.
And it's such a neutralizer with MacArthur, who's so tall in the middle.
Yeah.
She basically eats up, that wingspan so wide, and she's eating up 5 feet across the way and can get up and just neutralizes Chandler-Gilbert in the middle. So those outside hits have to be very tactical.
Absolutely.
So first set goes to Mesa, 25-11, as Coach Yamashiro and his young ladies regrouping for the second set. And we kind of look at the national rankings, and we talk about this conference. Mesa comes in at 12, of course, on the back end of the top 25. Region 1 is well represented. Glendale, 22. Scottsdale at 25. So, all said and done, these are teams that can pivot up and down the top 25, and what you're seeing now are teams within Region 1, Chandler-Gilbert included, that all said and done, they could be punching their ticket to the national tournament somewhere down the road.
Absolutely.
And Andrew Yamashiro having a conversation with his ladies after dropping the first set. Down in Pima, they took care of Northern Iowa, lost to Glendale in a tough 5-set affair. But once again, they lost to Glendale after playing Northern Iowa just a short time before. So it wasn't like they had fresh legs. They had a match underneath their belt. Of course, Coach Yamashiro and the ladies will not use that as an excuse. Bottom line, whoever they play in front of them, they got to beat that jersey that day and at that moment.
No doubt. Yeah, that Glendale game was a hard-fought battle. They played really, really great ball. And look, they're not going to win everything. They got swept all 3 times against Glendale. So to put up a fight going all 5 matches, it's now just analyzing.
Gilbert back on the floor. Of course, they're in the home white and teal. Thunderbirds. I wouldn't say that's burnt orange or burnt red and white.
Something in between.
I used to know my Crayola crayons pretty extensively as a kid. As an adult, I've kind of lost track, but I still love to dabble in the fluorescent colors. Getting ready for the second set. About, call it 20 seconds away, as Anderson and her infusion of energy steps back on the court for Mesa. Back on the floor for Chandler-Gilbert. Kaya Crafter, as well as Lena Kitch, Sage Salazar, Kenny Amaryllis, and Brenda Guano, and Sydney Metcalf. Mesa will serve it up. They'll start on the attack with Issa Fulau, sophomore outside hitter. Fulau serves it up right into Salazar and takes the first point. Good hard serve. She'll get the ace. Sage, I talked to her about her time in Pima. She said she wasn't 100%, so she was out there battling for her team. Maybe a little bit of a flu bug, and she got through it. And Mesa starts quickly with a couple good serves to take a 2-0 lead. Coach Harrington played her collegiate ball at New Mexico State, played beach at University of Arizona for the Wildcats. Side out, Coyotes get their first opportunity on serve. And Holly Gibbons, so good to see her back after missing all of last year. And haven't had a chance to talk to Holly just yet, but looking forward to it. Captain of the team. Co-captain was Sydney Metcalf. Worked in that middle, Coyotes have an answer. Kitch, Salazar, thunderous. And that time, Brianna Anderson could not dig it out. Anderson, who's really a spark for this Mesa team. Now at the service line. Once again, it's Gibbons. And that's going to go long, and Mesa gets it right back. 3-2 as Brenna Guano checks in. And Riley Bragg will check in for Kaya Crafter. On serve, Gracie MacArthur. I'm interested, Matt. We've seen how good she is in the middle. Can she serve it up? She had some heat on it, but right into the net. So it's a 3-3 score line early in this second set. Coach Harrington with some words of wisdom for Mesa. Now it's going to be the floor judge and Doug Kiefer, who has the best hair of any referee on the circuit. Looks like he might have been a 70s rocker in his day. You know, maybe some fog hat, maybe some Led Zeppelin. Needs to say, if the shoe fits, wear it. And he's having a conversation right now with the chair judge and Rob Richardson. Having a discussion. As we wait, Coach Yamashiro right to our left, waiting for the call, and Coach Harrington in a conversation with Cortez, as well as Awalani Motu from Florence, Arizona, went to Poston Butte High School. So from what Coach Yamashiro has stated, he's saying that the call will be going against Chandler-Gilbert. They're out of rotation. But we'll find out here shortly. So now Elena Kitch is having a conversation with the chair judge and Rob Richardson. So that is the call. They were out of rotation. So now Andrew Yamashiro pleading his case, saying, look, 2 points went by and we're back in rotation now. So what are you going to do?
Right.
You know, so there's no VAR video review like we have in softball and soccer. I mean, I got to tell you, I watch a lot of college soccer, and the video review is being used all in softball. My goodness. It seems like you're stopping down play every 5 minutes. And usually like a soccer game, and for the most part, I've been watching a lot of Cal State Bakersfield soccer and Idaho. I'll be calling that match on ESPN 3 on Sunday, so I've been watching a lot. But those reviews go by pretty quickly. I haven't really seen a lot, to be honest. But in softball, in the spring mat, wow. Cal State Bakersfield, it seemed like there was a review every 10 minutes. And those reviews, they're not like a minute.
No.
They're like an eternity. You can go to the bathroom, put a slice of pizza in the microwave, you know, take a phone call, grab your pizza, get back on the couch, and then, you know, the umpire's coming out of the truck with a call. So Coach Yamashiro pleaded his case. Coach Harrington kind of waiting, and all the fans are wondering when we're going to start back up and what they're going to be watching on Netflix on Friday night. So Rob Richardson and Doug Keeper have had a conversation. And it looks like after the back and forth, we play on. So the refs missed it. They're not going to change the score, but in fairness, Doug Keefer has to have a conversation with Coach Harrington because she wants an explanation as well. And,
Sure.
and Coach Harrington, what I love about her, she's very even-keeled. Not emotionally charged. She's like, okay, let's just play on. My kids are good enough, and whoever wins, wins.
Absolutely.
So here's Grace Johnson on serve. Grace, good serve into Cortez. And right there, Becker probably should add a little more thump to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And another chance. Salazar would touch.
Good
and
spot.
Salazar. And talk about reading the blockers, and she saw them coming and just a little bump over.
And that's important for an outside hitter to realize, so often they'll swing real hard, but the back row's prepared for that. So if you can read it right, time it well, you can capitalize on it.
Cortez kept alive by Motu. Amaryllis. Salazar
Go for it.
live at the net. Push back, and Anderson will bump it herself. Motu with some touch. And a advantage for Mesa's Melody Jones and Hedda Henson come back in. Melody Jones from Basha High. Tall, athletic, 5'11", a freshman. Just another one of those superb hitters for Mesa. Served up, Arguano. Johnson and Riley Blagg with a purpose. Big time Thunder. It's a 5-4 Chandler-Gilbert lead.
And Riley Blagg, new to the team this year, but love what we saw from her in that Glendale match with 11 kills. Just came out really strong and shows that she can be on the court at any time and make her impact.
Lastine. Melody Jones, little bump at the net. Now it's Amaryllis. Loud and proud. The pride of Williamsfield bringing the heat. And she says she's having a great time with this team. Having a lot of fun. Brings a lot of energy to the court. And the side out goes back the other way.
And Amaryllis,
So the Chandler-Gilbert momentum short-lived as Mesa goes back on serve with Cortez.
yeah, Joe, and Amaryllis, one of those great players for the Coyotes roster this year. Kind of can play almost anywhere. Doesn't have necessarily the same height as Sydney Metcalf or Sage Salvo, but makes her impact known and has really impacted in the Glendale game and also today as well.
7-5, Chandler-Gilbert. Hard-working team. Riley Blagg will fire it up. Right into Cortez. Worked in the middle. And Fulau with the soft touch for the point. Now it's Gracie MacArthur who's going to work the middle and dunk about 5 shots in the post as well. Anderson, the pride of Skyline High. Big fan of her game. I remember she was here last year and just put on a show in the back end.
Good placement.
Becker, big time Thunder. And that's what we want to see from the youngster. She's got to realize that she is very tall and she's got the ability to smash, and she smashed that with a purpose. 8-5.
And Becker, we didn't see a whole lot of her in the Glendale matchup, but boy, she's really shown off tonight. And everything I've seen so far, I think she's going to be a great asset to the team.
I think this one of those things where Coach Yamashiro trying to develop his young players,
Sure.
slowly build some confidence. And as her confidence grows, well, let's be honest, she's going to start providing some power at the net, which
Totally.
is exactly what the Coyotes need. They need more than just Metcalf and Salazar. They need someone like Becker, who's a tall, physical presence, to provide some thump on the outside.
Exactly.
Now, we talk about thump, and Amaryllis has an incredible kill shot.
Oh, yeah.
But she's on the smaller side, so just when you think she might get that great stroke across, she runs into blockers that are just taller than her.
Yeah.
So that's why it's imperative for Becker to come on.
Absolutely.
8-8, even Steven from the Coyote Center. Joe Pequeno, Matt McCurdy bringing you the action right here on the Chandler-Gilbert Sports Network. Last night, Matt and I over the soccer fields, seeing the Chandler-Gilbert teams taking on Pima. The women, hard fought, lost 3-0, and the men in a 6-1 affair that Pima came out on top. And Chandler-Gilbert now up 9-8. Good crowd on hand. More fans are filtering in. Amaryllis right into Anderson. Isabella Jackson setting up Fulau, and Fulau, good running touch. And we're back at it at 9 apiece. Fulau, 5'7", among the league leaders in stats in the conference, showing her versatility. Chandler-Gilbert goes up 10-9. Holly Gibbons, team captain. Here's a young lady that's persevered. Sat out all of last year. You know she wanted to play to provide a spark for this team. Couldn't because of injury, and now she's back, ready to go. Gibbons will just knock it back in. Isabella Jackson and Lindsay Levitt with a purpose.
Wow.
High and hard for Lindsay Levitt. Team leader in kills as Awalani Muto comes in.
And you gotta love the airtime and elevation from Levitt. I mean, that's why she has as many kills as she does. She doesn't get up and bring it right back down.
Sophie Palmer on the serve. A defensive specialist. Kitch, Metcalf. And Metcalf wide on the return. Mesa up 11-10. They've already played a daunting schedule. Coming out and not afraid to go anywhere, anytime. And Kitch try to bump it over. That goes in favor of the T-Birds.
And Joe, this is why these two teams are so fun to watch and why we've got such a crowd on hand and probably online as well. Because neither one willing to give up. They go right back at each other, point for point. And right there, the Coyotes will take another point and add to the scoreboard. But they're so engaged, they're locked in. And as soon as you think maybe the Coyotes have taken an edge or the Thunderbirds have taken one over the Coyotes, they send it right back and put themselves neck and neck.
Coyotes down 12-11. Grace Johnson on serve. Grace fires it right into the middle. Right side. Levitt.
Good up.
Good work by Amaryllis. Grace Johnson will just bump it over. Isabella Jackson. Try to soft touch. Sage Salazar. Big hit in favor of the Coyotes.
And Joe, it all starts with that great up by Amaryllis. And we talk about how she's made an impact on the front end, but on the back end during her high school career, 867 digs. So she obviously knows how to work the back row and just once again, a great all-around player. And those become crucial in this game when you can play all parts. It really helps as a coach as well.
Grace Johnson on serve. Right into Fulau. Isabella Jackson. Cortez in the middle. High and hard. And that Mesa bench is all kinds of pumped up. Back in is Melody Jones, as well as the defensive specialist, Etta Henson. From Montgomery, Texas. How about that? Coming across the border to play a little volleyball. Johnson. Try to soft touch it over and right into the twine. 14-12. This has been a back and forth affair. Henson right into Brinaguano. Becker tried to soft touch it over. Anderson setting up Melody Jones. And Melody with the big thump. 15-12, and Coach Yamashiro, you got to wonder, he is very close to calling a timeout if Mesa should score another point here. And a Henson on a nice service run. The lefty right into Iguano. Good hustle by Johnson. And Becker with the miss hit. And Yamashiro's got to burn a timeout. So Henson on the switch with Melody Jones comes in at that service line and puts Mesa exactly where they want to be, forcing a timeout, and Mesa with a 4-point lead.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, those little rotations can make all the difference. You know, you get your people in the right places, give them the good set, and then it can be a couple points on the board and push the other team to a timeout, and that's exactly what we've got here.
So Andrew Yamashiro, not a yeller by any stretch of the means, talking to his team, and more on the tactical side of not what Mesa's doing right, but trying to stress and coach what we need to do to get back on top.
Absolutely.
And Andrew is well respected on the high school and club circuit. Coaches also at Perry High and club coach for Aspire. He's well known throughout the state, highly respected. All the ladies on the team I've spoken to just talk about his volleyball IQ, so they have a right person guiding the ship for the future of this program.
Absolutely, and you got to love coaches that are involved, not just at the college level, but within the community. They're helping with the development of players, and that's what you want. They don't always get all the love that some of the pro coaches do, but they deserve it because they're working hard and building up those players.
Great hustle by Cortez. Jones, now it's Iguano. Grace Johnson.
Good spot.
And how about Salazar dropping it in the middle? And Coach Harrington felt that Salazar palmed the ball a little bit. And she's talking and having that discussion with Doug Kiefer, the floor judge, as we speak. 16-13, Zoe Lastine. And I love Zoe's energy. Down at Pima, she's coming in to serve, working that back row, and so supported. High-fiving her team, providing energy and effort, and you love a player like that just nonstop supporting everyone and the team throughout the match. 17-13 as Amaryllis is long. Cortez, former Chandler High Wolf. Right into Iguano. Amaryllis, high and hard, busting it in the corner. And Amaryllis, I got to tell you, her size, probably about 5'4". Matt can hit just about as hard as anyone out here.
Got some power.
Riley Blagg on serve. Right into Cortez. Kept alive by Henson. A little bump over. That's one that Chandler-Gilbert, you know they want back. They read it and just had 5 people look at it instead of attacking it. 18-14. As the tall, cool one, Gracie MacArthur, now dominating the Coyote logo in the middle of the floor. Brianna Anderson serves it up. Grace Johnson. Becker there. Kept alive by Mesa. Fulau the other side. How about Iguano coming up? Johnson. Amaryllis. Right into the net. 19-14. And definitely a good blocking setup by Mesa, having Fulau right there with Melody Jones. Because you don't have to move MacArthur. She's just going to eat up the middle with that wingspan. Anderson serves it up. Dug out by Lastine. Kaya Crafter, and Kaya right into the net. And Andrew Yamashiro's got a burner timeout. 20-14, Mesa. So Andrew Yamashiro had a burner timeout a short time ago. And now he's having another conversation with his team. And honestly, it hasn't been really anything that Mesa has imposed their will. Last couple points, Chandler-Gilbert just self-imploding at the net.
Yeah, it's just those little soft mistakes that really make the difference here late in the match, and Coach knows that. You know, he wants to call the timeout. He doesn't want to put himself into double trouble where he's having to try and force the third round, and so it's really about locking in, right? It's taking this moment, realizing Mesa does have an intimidating line up at the front, but not letting that falter you, and just send it over with strength, with power, and be definitive.
20-14 with Brianna Anderson on serve. What a find Brianna Anderson was from Skyline High School out in the East Valley. She decided just to come just a tad bit west and suit up for the T-Birds. And Amarillas shoots that one long. And Mesa closing in on a second set victory, now up 21-14.
And that was a tough one. You know, I know she probably wanted to have a little more speed on that, bring it down a little bit closer on the line. But this Mesa lineup's too good to touch that ball before it goes out of bounds. They're going to find that read.
Melody Jones and Becker wins the battle of height. And once again, Chandler-Gilbert needing to go on a little bit of a run, trailing by 6 here in this second set. Had a chance to see Coyotes coach Steve Shields in the building. Basketball season right around the corner. Yours truly and Matt McCurdy on the call. Also had a chance to meet the new Chandler-Gilbert women's basketball coach. We're hearing some great things about. Bulau and Metcalf read it well. Pitch, Amarillas.
Great hustle.
That time, just good placement by the Coyotes. 21-16.
And Joe, right there, that's the energy and hustle they need. Keep the serve on your side of the court. Hustle a little bit faster than Mesa. Get it over.
Kitch with a good hard serve into Fulau. Henson, Fulau going deep. Lastine is there. Metcalf all the way in that back row. Cortez Gamble, that might have gone out, but sometimes, you know, with that top spin, the way it's coming down, those back row players are afraid if they don't touch it, it's going to land inside the line.
Absolutely. There's nothing worse than a misread on the back end and it dropping right on the line.
Kitch on a good service run. Coyotes within 4. Cortez. MacArthur showing some bump touch. Henson, Melody Jones showing some touch, and that drops right in the middle. And that's another painful point going to Mesa. Because Melody Jones did not have the angle for the attack. She knew she just had to like literally find the soft spot on the floor. Isabella Jackson on the service line. Jackson right into Aguano. Outside, Metcalf with a purpose. 22-17. Lastine's out. Salazar is out. We talk about the energy Zoe Lastine brings. So infectious. Gotta love that.
And Joe, it's energy players like that that really make the difference on these teams, especially as they get late in the season. You feel the energy from the Mesa squad as well whenever they get a good point, or even when they're losing. They're hyping up their teammates. They're playing strong. And on the Coyote side, energy players like that make a huge difference. And it can make the difference in those big games.
23-18. Mesa with Fulau on serve. Right into Amarillas. Crafter. Kept alive by Aguano. Metcalf. And that's out of bounds. Set point for the visiting Burnt Orange. Fulau, that outside nucleus of this team. Metcalf. Jackson, and now it's Anderson. Fulau, middle attack. Kitch, Metcalf goes cross court. Kept alive by Jackson. Amarillas is there. Salazar busting it. Anderson relentless on the back row. And Lindsay Levitt wins it for Mesa. And the T-Birds now up 2-0. 25-18, and in the middle of that second set, Matt, it was very close back and forth affair. And once Mesa got a little bit of an advantage, they never let go.
Yeah. No, it was really close all the way through, like you said, Joe. It just a few sloppy mistakes right in the middle, a little drop in momentum. And look, Mesa, there's a reason they took it all the way to the championship last season, and they're continuing that forward. That's the motivation. That's the goal. That's what they want to get back to. And so they're going to capitalize on that momentum.
So now we go to the third set, and the Coyotes have to really dig deep. And we talked about how good Mesa is collectively. We talked about their stat line, who they've played already, and you kind of talk about where they've been early in the season. A 3-set victory over South Mountain, losing to Arizona Western, who is obviously more on the higher D1 end. Swept Benue JV team, swept Phoenix College, and then going to the Iowa tournament, a 5-set victory of Neosho County Community College, 3-set victory over Hawkeye, 5-set loss to Iowa, and then Highland Community College, a 3-set victory, and then Central Community College, a 4-set victory, and here they are. So they've played a lot of volleyball.
Yeah.
And Coach Yamashiro was hoping, with all the volleyball they played, they might have some tired legs, but it's not the case.
No, it's really a roll of the dice there, and you never know, right? It could be wear and tear that slows them down, or it could be the heat and motivation that leads them to success. And in this case, it seems like the latter. They're just building off of those games. Obviously, Coach, knowing that they got a new team, got to work the reps, and it's worked to their advantage thus far.
So here we are. We're going to go to the third set. Coyotes in an uphill battle, dropping the first set 25-18, make that 25-11, and the second set by the count of 25-18. Of course, the squad, you want more volleyball? You can have it here Friday night. The squad will host Glendale on Friday, and Mesa is at home against Pima. So the Coyotes, once again, they took Glendale to 5 sets in Pima, so that should be, look, every time out in this conference, there's no layups. Everyone's got to earn a victory. So here we go. Set number 3. Salazar, Crafter, also getting some PT. Mia Hutchinson, a freshman who played at Corona del Sol, part of a very good volleyball program down there. So right now, it's early in the season. Andrew Yamashiro is trying to find some winning combinations in the course within his team to find out who can do what. Riley Blagg also on the floor with Brenda Guano. On the other side, Motu, Jackson, Cortez, Levitt, MacArthur, and Fulao. And then, of course, Brianna Anderson will sub out, and the high chest bump between Brianna Anderson and Motu. And you gotta love, I gotta tell you, it's just kind of like with Zoe last team for Chandler-Gilbert, what Brianna Anderson brings, just an infection. She's a tremendous player too.
Sure.
But just a tremendous attitude and fun, and just keeps it loose, right?
Absolutely.
There's never like a moment of dread or fear out there. She's just playing and having a good time. Jackson outside. And Lindsay Levitt setting the tone in the third set. Coming out strong. Early point for Mesa. Ranked 12th in the nation. Region 1 champions from last year. Fulao on serve.
And Joe, that's going to be a tough one to defend. That's really Lindsay Levitt's sweet spot, and she's going to hammer it home every single time.
Fulao right into Hutchison. Kept alive. Salazar bumps it over. MacArthur couldn't handle it. Kind of just rolled inside her body and couldn't scoop it out.
And I love the read by Sage Salazar. Seeing her hammer not go through, realizing the tough lineup on the front row for Mesa. And so she switched up tactics.
I'm a big fan of Sage Salazar. I went up to her at the Pima tournament. Look, I got shorts on, got a hat on, got a ball cap on. You know, I'm not dressed as I am in the real world daily. And I'm like, and I introduced myself. I'm like, hey, I call the volleyball matches for you. Oh, okay. And we talked a little bit, and just really good kid and wants to play at the next level, looking for a home, and hopefully there'll be an opportunity for her as well.
Absolutely.
So once again, it was MacArthur in the middle coming up with a big point. On serve, Sophie Palmer on the defensive change. Palmer, highly effective at the service line. Good hard serve for that top spin. And that's blasted by Mia Hutchison. Worked in the middle. Salazar right into Palmer. Jackson cross court and Levitt. And we talk about the beauty of Mesa.
Yeah.
Isabella Jackson's on the far side of the court, and she sets up Levitt with the perfect assist.
Absolutely.
3-1, Mesa. Palmer right into Amaryllis. Elena Kitch. Good touch by Riley. And that time, Mesa with one too many touches as Johnson, as well as Aubrey Becker coming in. Grace Johnson. Right into Cortez. Back to Cortez. Amaryllis could not control it. Melody Jones as well as Henson back in. The defensive changes as Mesa goes on serve. 4-2. And make no mistake, for viewers watching at home, they're thinking about this match and what they're seeing early. First, it's early in the season. So Chandler-Gilbert's not where they are now. It's where they're going to be at the end of the year.
Right.
But they're playing a Mesa team that's playing with a lot of confidence, that went to the national tournament last year, that has a slew of players that have returned, and has a slew of great young freshmen as well.
Yeah.
Last team.
And you know, you think new players, they didn't experience that national tournament, but you know, when you're on a team where you have some returners, you've got a culture built, it doesn't really make much difference. You're obviously recruiting, they know what can be done. That's going to attract new talent and better talent. So the momentum's already there, the culture's built, and so they're gonna keep building.
And you know, part of their nucleus is Fulau and Anderson, as well as Motu and Cortez. They were part of that team last year, and you're talking about 4 starters on the team right there.
Yeah.
Amaryllis with a blaster from the outside. 5-3. And there's some smiles coming out of that Chandler-Gilbert lineup. Crafter in the middle. A returner for Chandler-Gilbert from last year, as well as Sage Salazar, Sydney Metcalf, and Holly Gibbons, who, of course, once again was injured all of last year. Kept alive at the net. Last scene. 4 hits. Palmer and MacArthur coming in. And it's just too easy to call Gracie MacArthur the general in the middle of the floor. Great serve by Anderson. Almost caught the Coyotes napping. And that was a rare miss hit. Looked like MacArthur just wasn't in a good tactical position to make that play. And she has that look like, hey, that one's on me. Chandler-Gilbert on serve. Elena Kitch having a good match so far. Henson setting up Jones with some power. That's going to be long in favor of Chandler-Gilbert. So here we are. We've been in this position in the first, second sets where the Coyotes right there, right? Now it's just about not losing focus. And how about that great serve, but kept alive MacArthur. Hey, great dig by Aguano. Crafter,
Great move.
no doubt in the middle. 7-6.
And you love to see it. This is where the Coyotes need to lock in. They feel a lull in the momentum of Mesa as they probably feel like they've got this one in the bag, and that's where you got to capitalize.
Iguano right in that middle. Outside, Amarillo's kept alive by the Coyotes. Hutchison is there. Henson, MacArthur blocked, kept alive. Hustle play. And they're going to say it was 4 hits by the Coyotes. Even Steven at 7 apiece. So glad he can join us from the Coyote Center right here on the Coyote Sports Network. Matt McCurdy, Joe Pequeno on the call. Coyotes haven't played in over a week since they played Glendale in the Pima Volleyball Classic during the Labor Day weekend. And for Mesa, fresh off a plane from Iowa City after playing Iowa Central in their volleyball tournament, winning 4 or 5 matches. So, no jet lag on their part. Hutchison. Amarillo's blasted through MacArthur and Levitt. And the Coyotes hanging around, 8-8.
Just a great rebound, Amarillo. Seeing the transition of the bigs on the front line for Mesa. Swing hard, swing heavy. See if you can make it in.
Worked in that middle. Kitch, Crafter. Levitt's there. Isabella Jackson working the back row. Amarillo has the answer. Kitch, Hutchison, Isabella Jackson, Fulau. And Fulau is going to be sending that one to Scottsdale. 9-8. Chandler-Gilbert hanging around with the 1-point lead. Amarillis had a nice service run. Cortez kept alive by Mesa on that outside. And Grayson MacArthur just getting the big bare paws on it, knocking it over. Even Steven at 9 apiece. Fulau on serve. Right into Brinaguano. Hutchison, good touch. That's going to be a point for the Coyotes. Some defensive changes. Holly Gibbons will go to the service line and Riley on the front row. 10-9 Coyotes. Can they break through to keep this one alive? Gibbons right into Anderson. Jackson, Cortez a little deeper on that outside hit. Salazar, opportunity. The touch, Jackson hustling, Fulau's there, and Anderson always so solid on the return. In that middle, flag, big time hit. Anderson digging it out with a purpose. Cortez right into Gibbons. And Hutchison blocked at the net. And that was just an epic battle back and forth right there. Palmer going in, as well as Motu. But you can really see the relentlessness and the pursuit and the never give in attitude by Chandler-Gilbert. They are fighting to stay alive. And Levitt, high and hard. On her way possibly to being the freshman of the year in the conference. 11-10, Levitt. American Leadership Academy. Palmer on serve. Right into the net. A vital side out as Becker and Johnson stroll back in for Chandler-Gilbert. Even Steven at 11 apiece. Now you're wondering, Matt, if the Coyotes can capitalize. He had a good service run. Now this is so important for Grace just to get the ball over to give him an opportunity. She does that. Cortez. Levitt fires it up. Amarillo's fearless in the back row. Salazar touched over, kept alive by Blag. Salazar right into Anderson. Levitt shoots it over.
Great block.
Cortez. And Cortez, the super sophomore, punches it for the point for Mesa. Jones and Henson back in. 12-11. Etta Henson on the serve. Salazar, Johnson, a little bit too close to the net. And they rule that in favor of Mesa. 13-11. Henson. Grace Johnson. Flag was able to keep it alive. Cortez set up nicely. Aguano's there. Becker. And Becker blocked the net by Melody Jones. And I think Andrew Yamashiro blows the timeout at just the right time. And Matt, we've seen it in the two previous sets where the Coyotes were there. They're hovering, they're right there. Then Mesa gets that 3, 4, 5 point extension. And hopefully it'll have a different ending in the third set. But the first two sets, they couldn't recover from it.
Yeah, I mean, Mesa's just too athletic and too good of a team to allow your momentum to dip at a crucial part like this when you're tied up and you're in the third match and it's all on the line. So, you know, some of these missed sets, these balls that are just a little too close to the net, allowing for Mesa to get an easy one over the top and set it right back down in your court, you just can't afford those. And those have to be critically cleaned up in order to beat teams like Mesa. So hopefully Coach Yamashiro can lock it back up, lock his girls in. No way have they lost this match. They're still right in it. They just got to keep it tight, keep it clean, and play their game.
14-11. Firing it up. Outside. Blocked at the net.
Great dive.
Henson, Cortez, Amaryllis in the back row. Becker will knock it over. Fulau. Henson. And Henson to row 2 off the tip. Mesa extending that lead. Some of the basketball players for Steve Shields on hand. Of course, basketball right around the corner. The team losing to Pima in the Region 1 championship last year. And Coyotes will have a nucleus of that team coming back in the fall. And it's very rare we see Brianna Anderson not come up with a dig in the back row. And that was a great diving attempt for her to keep it alive. Zoe Lastine trying to draw Chandler-Gilbert closer. Good tight serve right into Anderson. Anderson with a little bit of a slice move that Henson went diving for and couldn't come up with. So once again, Coyotes right there. Lastine, let's see what she can do at the service line. Right into Anderson. Jones and Black. Becker, right into Anderson. Cortez. Amaryllis firing up the fastball from Williamsfield High. I've said it once, Matt, I'll say it again. She can hit just as hard as just about anyone on the floor for her size.
No doubt.
15-14. Lastine on serve. Has a chance to tie this one up. Good, hard serve right into Cortez. Melody Jones. No hesitation, was set up perfectly. And that's the beauty of this Mesa team is that we talk about their power, whether it be MacArthur or Fulau or Jones or Levitt, but their setters, Isabella Jackson and Etta Henson, are incredible.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's going to make them and give them an opportunity. And Blagg comes up as that one's busted outside, 17-14. And you got to wonder if Coach Andrew Yamashiro close to calling a timeout if Mesa should get another point right here. Cortez on serve. right into Zoe Lastine. Big time hit. That's off the basketball hoop that was raised to the rafters. Becker, Motu, and Jones, the law firm, slamming the Book of Authority. 18-14. Here is Cortez. Into Blag, and Blag, Brianna Anderson. And they're going to call that one up. And, you know, I had the sense, Matt, that Marley Cortez was about to go in the stands and try to track that one down.
There's definitely some consideration to climb those.
Flag right into Cortez. Henson setting up Fulau. Good work by Grace Johnson. Lastine right into the middle. Henson. Motu, and Motu bringing some Mo power in the middle. 19-15.
That was just some great placement from the front row. Finding the open spot, seeing where there's some openings in the back row and just hammering it in there.
Anderson on serve. Aguano is there. Becker, and Becker runs into MacArthur and Melody Jones. And Mesa feeling it. Now up 20-15. And Coach Yamashiro going to let them play it out. Let them learn on the fly. Anderson. Right into Aguano. Amaryllis into MacArthur. Cortez is there. Henson. Fulau. Right into Johnson. And they're going to say the two-handed hit. 21-15. Mesa closing in on a 3-set victory. 4 points away. Anderson on serve. Johnson setting up Becker. Becker. And Becker wins that point. Bringing the power, and that's what you want to see from the young lady. You know, over the course of this match, we've seen a lot of finesse, and she has won some big points with her ability to strike from the outside. Got to build that confidence along the way. Worked up MacArthur. And MacArthur draws Mesa closer. (22-16).
And Joe, you love to see when an athlete with MacArthur's stature knows her ability, knows the length she has, and uses it to her advantage. It's great to see. She's got a lot of potential.
The big thing is that she provides that big body that neutralizes the middle of the floor. So unless you can match her with size in the middle, all she's got to do is put those big, long, lanky arms out.
Right.
And she's going to eat up 5 feet in the middle of that court, which is such an advantage for Mesa. So Chandler-Gilbert gets the much-needed side out with Amaryllis on serve. Cortez outside. Levitt fires it up, and Levitt with the winner. The freshman leading the team in kills coming into this one. Also one of the top killers in the conference as well. Levitt with 79 kills coming in, third in the conference behind McReynolds from Pima. Good hustle by Pima to keep it alive. Levitt, back row by Amaryllis. Salazar fires it up. And Chandler-Gilbert with some life.
And that was much needed right here in this moment of the game as Mesa starts to close in on those final numbers. And that's the type of leadership you want to see from Sage Salazar. Coming in strong, using that absolute arm that she has. Brings some momentum back to the team.
Anderson digs it out. Levitt soft touch. Hutchinson's there. Kitch. And that was just too easy. Levitt. And this Mesa team now a point away from a 3-set victory. Coming into this match, they were second in the conference behind Eastern Arizona with 374 kills.
Wow.
And they have been dominant on the floor of the Coyotes tonight. MacArthur, the first time around, served it up into the net. She gets a second opportunity. That time fires up a great one. Kitch, good touch. Motu is there, read it perfectly. Salazar blasting. MacArthur showing her ability to reset. And Levitt trying to work it and does just that as it's ruled out. And Mesa comes to town. They strut, they sizzle, and they do it in 3 sets. 25-11, 25-18, and 25-18. And Matt, when you think about this early season matchup, Mesa, a team that is already playing at a high level, coming off that big weekend tournament at Iowa, showing no signs of being tired whatsoever.
No, absolutely not. If anything, they seemed like a fully rested, high energy, powerful team, and that's what makes a championship team right there. Coming off every game, energized and ready to go, and they showed their strength. I mean, it was just an impressive show of power coming in here with a full 3-0 sweep. Both teams playing well, but Mesa definitely taking the cake.
And for Chandler-Gilbert, a lot of good moments
Yeah.
in this match. They were in every set. And Matt, it just really came down to a couple critical points here and there where they just cannot convert, and sometimes they were their own worst enemy.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, there was a lot of great moments, a lot of key highlights. I thought Sydney Metcalf came in really strong at the beginning. I thought seeing Hallie Gibbons on the floor for the first time was fun to see. Salazar with some great leadership, and Amaryllis with just a great all-around game. But some of the sloppiness on the sets and the releases off to their outside hitters thought could be a little bit tighter. They gave a lot of extras over to the tall bigs of Mesa, who were going to capitalize on those opportunities and slam it back down home, and they just can't afford that against a team like Mesa. So a lot of room for improvement, but a lot of great potential as well.
So for Chandler-Gilbert, they'll get an opportunity to regroup as they drop to 2-2. They'll take on Glendale on Friday, and we talked about that match extensively where Chandler-Gilbert faced Mesa, or I should say Glendale, in the Pima Aztec Classic down in Pima, and that went 5 sets. Coyotes won the first. They were leading 2-1 after 3 and then dropped the last 2 sets, so they can play with Glendale.
Definitely.
And the big thing, as we saw here, there was just some critical points where the Coyotes have to tighten up and be a little bit more tactically efficient to secure victory.
Yeah, I think, Joe, all the talent is there. They've got some great pieces, and now it's just fine-tuning and locking up. They really haven't had that many games on the court together, and so it'll be exciting to see as they keep playing how they'll do. Obviously, playing a team like Glendale, they're a hard team, they're a tough team, but they've already played them once. So this is an opportunity to learn from that game and implement it here on the home court for everyone to see.
So the Coyotes drop the match to Mesa in 3 sets. They're 2-2 on the year. Of course, Matt will have the call on Friday as Glendale comes to town, which should be a great affair. And that tip-off is set for 7 p.m. We appreciate you joining us on the Chandler-Gilbert Sports Network. For Andrew Yamashiro, Coach Harrington, all the great athletes, not just on the campus of Chandler-Gilbert, but throughout the Arizona Community College Athletic Conference. And Russ Luce, our outstanding athletic director for Chandler-Gilbert, and all the great student athletes on campus. For Matt McCurdy, I'm Joe Pequeno. This has been a presentation of Chandler-Gilbert Athletics.